Tensions in the Middle East escalated dramatically after Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or also known as IRGC, announced a series of coordinated missile and drone attacks targeting American military installations across the region. And according to the statements released today, Iran claimed that it struck 21 US military targets, including key air and naval bases in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain, in what Tehran described as retaliation for the recent American strikes on the southern Iran. The IRGC stated that long-range missiles destroyed 4 major targets at the Al-Azraq military bases in Jordan, including aircraft hangars reportedly housing F-35 fighter jets and a command and control center. Iran also claimed to have launched drone attacks against the Ali Al-Salem air base in Kuwait, while additional operations were reportedly directed towards US military assets that is linked to the United States Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. Iran's military leadership warned that its forces remain fully prepared to deliver what it called a crushing and decisive response to any further American aggression. The IRGC also claimed responsibility for shooting down a US MQ-9 civilian drone over Jam County in Iran's southern Bushehr province. Iranian officials said that the attacks were a direct response to US military action near the Strait of Hormuz and recent airstrikes conducted on Iranian territory. However, Jordanian authorities disputed parts of Iran's claims, stating that the country's air defense systems intercepted and destroyed 5 missiles heading towards the Al-Azraq region. Officials in Jordan confirmed that debris from the intercepted missiles caused no casualties or significant damage, and the latest escalation follows US Central Command's announcement that American fighter jets had carried out what they described as self-defense strikes against Iranian radar systems and air defense installations near the Strait of Hormuz. And according to the CENTCOM, the operation was launched in response to the earlier downing of a US Army Apache helicopter by the Iranian forces. Iran's foreign ministry strongly condemned the US strikes and defended Tehran's military response as an exercise of its right to self-defense. And in a statement carried by the Iranian media, officials accused the United States and Israel of using regional territories and military facilities in order to launch aggressive operations against Iran. Tehran also called on Gulf countries in order to prevent American and Israel forces from using their territory for the future military action against the Islamic Republic. The situation has further intensified fears of a broader regional conflict involving multiple countries and the armed groups. China expressed deep concern over the growing confrontation and urged all the sides to exercise restraint and avoid further escalation. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian called for immediate efforts in order to reduce tensions and prevent the conflict from spiraling further. And at the same time, violence and instability continue across the wider region. In Lebanon, the Israel military issued new evacuation threats for towns in southern Lebanon despite an earlier ceasefire agreement. And in the occupied West Bank, Israel raids and arrests continued over the night, while Hamas accused Israel of escalating tensions around the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in East Jerusalem. The current crisis traces back to the wave of airstrikes launched by the United States and Israel on Iranian targets earlier this year, which triggered retaliatory attacks by Tehran and heightened military activity across the Middle East. Although a temporary ceasefire had briefly reduced tensions in April, negotiations later collapsed amid disagreements over implementation and the continued military operations. And now, with both Washington and Tehran issuing warnings and carrying out military actions, concerns are growing internationally that the confrontation could evolve into a much larger regional war involving American forces, Iran-backed groups, and the several Middle Eastern countries. Diplomatic efforts are now expected to intensify as global powers attempt to prevent further escalation in one of the world's most volatile regions. That's all for now. Stay tuned to the Savera for more updates. Do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.